Imagine this. You are standing at the edge of an untamed wilderness, thousands of years before the first hospital was ever built. There is no 911 to call, no ambulance racing towards you. A companion collapses beside you, fever burning through their body, or perhaps a wound that bleeds too freely. In that moment, you face a choice that has confronted humanity since the dawn of our story. You must act, improvise, and heal, or you must watch helplessly as death claims another. Welcome to the hidden history of wilderness medicine, where the boundary between survival and extinction has always been drawn by human ingenuity and the unshakable will to save a life against all odds. Before sterile operating rooms and advanced diagnostics, life-saving medicine often took root in the wild. This is not merely the story of heroic explorers or daring mountaineers, though they feature prominently. This is the story of how the wilderness itself became humanity's greatest teacher, a harsh classroom where every mistake carried the weight of mortality, and every success echoed across centuries. The romanticized notion of the fearless adventurer must be abandoned. The brutal reality was far different. When ancient explorers ventured into unknown territories, they faced genuine existential peril. Infection from the smallest cut could lead to death within days. A broken bone left untreated could result in permanent disability or death from shock and sepsis. Exposure to unfamiliar climates and diseases presented killers, invisible and unstoppable. Early attempts at first aid were necessarily crude, yet they carried the seeds of everything that would follow. A wounded warrior on a Roman military campaign could not wait for a physician to arrive from the capital. A shipwrecked sailor stranded on a foreign shore could not consult a medical text that did not exist. Instead, soldiers, explorers, and settlers learned through trial and error how to stop bleeding, set broken bones, and combat infection with whatever materials the environment provided. These early innovations were born not from academic pursuit, but from the determination to survive. Unique medical solutions became essential because, well, the wilderness operates by different rules than civilization. When rapid evacuation is impossible and professional intervention may be weeks away, the protocols of urban medicine actually become dangerous. Wilderness medicine demanded a new philosophy, immediate intervention with limited resources, practical judgment over institutional authority, and improvisation as a fundamental principle. To trace the origins of wilderness medical innovation, we venture back to ancient times. The Epic of Gilgamesh, composed roughly 4,000 years ago, describes a character performing what appears to be a heart assessment, observation of vital signs that would become central to medical practice millennia later. This was practical, field-tested wisdom born from necessity. The ancient Romans took this knowledge further, systematizing it within their military structures. Roman legions marching into distant provinces carried medical personnel whose sole purpose was to keep soldiers alive and fighting. When a soldier received a spear wound, there was just no time for reflection. The medic had to act. This urgency created innovation. The most surprising repository of medical knowledge came from isolated communities. In Appalachia, women known as granny doctors maintained an unbroken chain of medical wisdom across centuries. Many died attempting to bring new life into the world, and honestly, the knowledge their sisters gained from these tragedies became precious. The herbs they used, bloodroot for disinfection, yarrow for wound closure, willow bark for pain, were discovered through generations of trial and observation. Indigenous peoples across the globe possess sophisticated medical knowledge accumulated over countless generations. Native American healers understood the medicinal properties of hundreds of plants. When European explorers arrived, early colonial settlements often survived by learning these remedies. Corn treated infected wounds. Willow bark provided pain relief and fever reduction. Spruce needles, rich in vitamin C, prevented scurvy. This was sophisticated ecological medicine, refined through thousands of years of observation. Early expeditions relied on basic improvisation. A strong branch became a splint cloth, became a bandage. Yet, as exploration became more ambitious, it became clear that certain problems recurred predictably. Broken bones needed consistent support, wounds needed reliable dressing materials. The transition to purpose-built wilderness medical kits represents a fundamental shift. Rather than hoping suitable materials would be available, practitioners began packing specifically designed equipment for anticipated problems. Early mountaineering expeditions pioneered this approach, carrying specially designed litters, rope systems, and compact supplies. Perhaps most significant was the development of the portable hyperbaric chamber in the 1980s, the Gamo bag. Mountaineers recognized that severe altitude sickness represented a medical emergency with no available solution at extreme elevations. By creating a portable chamber that could simulate lower altitudes through air pressure, climbers could dramatically reduce altitude sickness symptoms, buying time for evacuation. This innovation represented a completely new approach to medical intervention, not curing the underlying problem but creating physiological conditions necessary for survival. The formalization of wilderness medicine as a distinct discipline emerged when the American Alpine Club began publishing its annual Accidents in North American Mountaineering report in 1948. By carefully recording circumstances of injuries and deaths, analyzing what interventions succeeded, the mountain community created genuine medical literature born from field experience. This systematic documentation revealed patterns invisible to researchers confined to hospitals. Hypothermia, for instance, presented differently than textbooks suggested. Victims appeared dead, not breathing, rigid with cold, yet some survived with complete neurological recovery. These observations led to the principle that, well, no one is dead until they are warm and dead, fundamentally changing protocols. High-altitude research produced equally paradigm-shifting insights. Researchers discovered that acute mountain sickness resulted from the body's inability to process oxygen efficiently at high elevations, leading to fluid accumulation in the brain and lungs. This understanding transformed treatment protocols from supportive care to targeted pharmaceutical interventions. Acetazolamide could prevent altitude sickness. Nifedipine proved effective at treating pulmonary edema triggered by high altitude. We stand now at a threshold where ancient principles merge with cutting-edge technology. Drones now carry defibrillators and medical supplies to unreachable locations. Remote areas can access telemedicine capabilities, allowing specialists to guide field practitioners through complex procedures. Yet the fundamental principles remain unchanged. Improvisation remains essential. Technology fails, communications collapse. Practical judgment remains paramount. Working with available resources rather than waiting for ideal circumstances remains the foundation. Every solution developed to save lives at extreme altitude or in austere environments eventually finds its way back to civilian medicine, improving outcomes in urban trauma centers, rural clinics, and disaster response scenarios. The wilderness remains, as it has always been, humanity's most demanding teacher and our most generous source of innovation. The hidden history of wilderness medicine reveals something profound about human nature. We are problem solvers driven by the imperative to save lives regardless of circumstances. The granny doctors of Appalachia, the medics of ancient armies, the mountaineers scaling impossible heights, all participated in a continuous conversation across centuries. The wilderness has never stopped teaching us. The principles discovered when a shepherd needed to treat a broken leg remain relevant to the trauma surgeon today. As we advance technologically, we must remember that the foundation of all effective medicine rests on something ancient, the human determination to heal, and the capacity to learn from every encounter with suffering and survival. If this journey has captured your imagination, subscribe to Ancient Edge and join our community of explorers and seekers of forgotten knowledge. Share this video with others who marvel at how ancient peoples solve problems with ingenuity and courage. The wilderness still has lessons to teach us. We need only listen closely enough to hear them.